game.
Asura's wrath is what comes of a mighty battle between demigods, their enemies, and each other. And it might be one of the strangest games I've ever played, Badge.
It's weird.
Worthless scum. I'll kill you.
You begin the game in a battle to save your planet. The impure Goma are ravaging the land, and you take the role of Asura, one of 8 godly warriors fighting to protect heaven and earth from total destruction.
As this epic cutscene plays out, you're involved in a series of quick-time events that earn you a rating at the end of the chapter, depending on how well you did. And once that cutscene ended, another one began, and so this game just became one giant, continuous quick-time event, just spattered with little brawl moments and on-rail sections.
I know, it was unbelievable. I can't believe how little I was involved in what was actually happening here.
Asura! You traitorous filth! No, it wasn't me.
Early on in the game, Asura is accused of a murder he didn't commit, and his daughter is kidnapped. So he spends the rest of the game fighting both the Goma and the other deities to try and rescue his daughter Mithra and set things right. But all this happens in long cutscenes that span across various episodes, where you're only involved by occasionally hitting triangle or pulling the thumbsticks in a particular direction. Fans of anime may enjoy the episodic nature of this game. It's really what I'd call this, is more of an interactive anime than a game.
Yeah, when you do finally get to some actual gameplay, it's pretty much just button mashing, heavy and light attacks, until you fill up a meter and then push R2, which plays out the ending animation of a fight.
Yeah, all those shooter sections where I felt like nothing I was doing was having any effect or impact anyway. I mean, part of me was like taking me back to those QuickTime event movie sections.
Nonsense.
And I want to say that the story made up for this, and while it isn't terrible, it's similar to that of, say, Darksiders or God of War, but with a weird mix of Hinduism and sci-fi, you rarely have the opportunity to feel anything for the characters. It's just a whole lot of Asura hulking out and going on about how angry he is about everything.
Can nothing quell my anger?
And then the episode ends and you have to button through a bunch of written dialogue between loading screens, which is apparently more depth to the story, and then a voiceover lady comes on and literally tells you what is about to happen.
Amidst the battle, Asura discovers a mysterious machine on board one of the ships. What purpose does it serve?
Why?
I think that voiceover thing might be an anime technique, I'm not sure though. I did like that opening sequence. It was very spectacular, and once again, you're not really doing much game in it all, but it was so confusing that that actually was an achievement in my opinion. It made me want to learn more about it. Not sure if I ever got there, but it was that sci-fi and Hindu element is quite interesting. It's an interesting premise. At some points, Asura's rage would cause him to spawn multiple arms, and at other times you find yourself having to fight with no arms at all.
Take back your daughter!
What I found frustrating about these brawler sections was that the gameplay didn't actually vary, whether you were fighting a demon like Goma or another massive deity.
I thought it was funny how every Goma had a specific impurity rating, from the 10s to the 100s to this one giant thing that took a big old bite out of the side of the earth that had an impurity rating that was immeasurable.
Of course, none of that matters anyway, because how powerful they are makes no difference. Some bosses don't even have health bars, and some enemies just spawn endlessly. The whole point is to fill up that power meter at the top of the screen, so you can push R2 and trigger that transition into the next scene. I guess it works to pull you along in the game, but you feel more like a passenger rather than in the driver's seat.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I think some people will really go for this, especially if you approach it as just simply being involved in an animated story. But for me, all those QuickTime events just had me losing interest, so much so that I'd often get distracted completely and just forget to do the QuickTime events at all. Barjo.
It reminded me a little bit of that game Ninja Blade, which was very much a long QuickTime event, that whole game too, but at least I found that a lot more interesting. You felt a bit more connected to what was going on, but I didn't get that here at all.
Yeah, neither did I, Badger. I think it's a unique idea, but in my opinion, executed really poorly, so I'm giving it 3 out of 10.
Yes, for a full-priced game, you don't get that much game here, so I'm giving it 3 out of 10 rubber chickens. Obviously, this isn't a game for everyone, and we recently spoke to 2 of the developers behind it to talk about the unique gameplay they were trying to achieve here.
Asura's Wrath is a new type of game. It fits within the action genre, but it's a new take on the action genre. We're trying to break the mold with past action games and try and create something new and more dynamic as a gameplay experience.
And you can see that full interview on the website.